It's Mama? Yep. Okay.
Good afternoon and welcome, parents. Thank you for being on time. We're just about ready to begin. Welcome to the 100 or just about 100 persons on Zoom, and 50 and growing parents on YouTube. Parents and students, other stakeholders, welcome. We're just about ready to begin. Please share. The YouTube link has been shared in the WhatsApp groups. So for the persons who are unable to join, somebody might text you so that the Zoom is full. It is indeed full. If they can't join on the Zoom, just let them know that they're able to listen in and view and listen and use the chat on the YouTube stream. Right. So when it's time for questions and concerns, those questions and concerns can be typed in the YouTube chat area, and they will be relayed to the persons here on Zoom so that it can be they can be answered and they can be addressed. All right, so we're just about ready to begin. Yes, so thank you for joining us. All right, again, before we begin, let me do a roll call check. Is Ms. Basco here with us? Did Ms. Basco manage to get in? Our PTA president. Calling Ms. Basco. We want to ensure that the persons who are to address you are on the Zoom link. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and begin. We're gonna go through a short devotional exercise. I want to share with you a Bible verse, then we'll pray and we'll get into our meeting. Joshua 1 verse 9. The Bible says to us, haven't I commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. I repeat it. Haven't I commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. I cannot remember a time in recent history, in my in the few years that I've been on this earth, where we have experienced a situation that has brought basically the entire world to a standstill, or brought the world to its feet, or whatever terminology we want to use it, because in one instance, we had the entire world being affected, we can say, by something that we couldn't even see. And when stuff happen at the west, probably the other that side of the world isn't affected, and when stuff happen over there, then we're barely affected. But this pandemic did so much, and everybody at the same time was affected. So we can imagine and we can understand the anxiety that this would have come with for us adults, and even more, twofold or threefold for our students, your children. But we take solace, or we're able to understand when the Bible points out some things to us. And one of these things being pointed out is the fact that for those of us who are Bible believing Christians, we hear the Bible, or we see the Bible saying to us that in our times of anxiety and our times of despair and our times of fear, then we have somebody, whether we look at him as a person, whether we look at him just as a being, whether we look at him as whatever we look at, we consider him to be. We have somebody who is there to provide that comfort. And as we get ready to face the unknown, specifically now to school and education and what will happen with your children, and you probably view the report today and the report now looks so good and you know that your son or your daughter is not coping with the online, plus everything else, the other regular day-to-day stuff and the bills to pay, because I'm on 10 now, bills due, right? Bills to pay and stuff to buy, and you have no idea where the bus fare from Monday gonna come from. You have no idea where the lunch money gonna come from Monday. You're scared out of your mind about sending your child out with over 1,000 other students. All of these things, the unknown, uncertainty, all of that is there, and the anxiety comes and the panic sets in and weighs in and all of these things. But I'm saying to you, and I'm sharing with you this afternoon, that there's one thing we can take comfort in. For those of us who are Bible believing Christians, we understand that there is comfort above, right? And whether it is with whatever level, can I say that, whatever level of Christian or just Christian, but wherever your faith and your belief system lies, right? Take comfort in that fact that there is, it's not just up to us and it's not just in our hands. So when we pray, and I hope parents that we're praying for the children and the students before they come out in the mornings, when they come out, and just before they come back in the evenings, that we're praying for them. And when we pray, we believe that there's a God in heaven who will not just help to take care of them and help to provide for them, but will keep them safe and keep us safe on a daily basis, so that the education that they come out on a daily basis to seek at Morant Bay High School, they will get it. So even if that don't seem like they're doing too well now, right, with the work from us at school and the work from you at home, and the present support and encouragement that we're giving them, they will see success, and they will continue to grow and develop into the men and women that we know that they can be. Let us pray. Dear Jesus in heaven, we give you thanks today. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the parents and the students who are on this call. Thank you for those who will be with us. Thank you for this institution of your planting, this institution that is here to not just mold and educate the minds, young minds of the men and women of tomorrow, but also to instill principles and values in them so that they can be upstanding citizens and global citizens. We ask that this meeting, dear Lord, that has been called to provide updates and information as it relates to the continuing education of these children that you have blessed us with. Please help that it will be productive. Please help that the questions, the concerns, the anxiety, the panic, the uncertainties, all of those things will be quelled and laid to rest. In your name I pray. Amen. All right. As I had said earlier, welcome to those of you who are here. My name is Joel Logan. I am one of the guidance counselors here at Morant Bay High School. Welcome to our parent-teachers meeting. This meeting was called to provide some pertinent information, some updates as it relates to some decisions that would have been taken by the Ministry of Education. These decisions obviously have an effect on you and your children. So that's the main purpose of the meeting here. And that is
Tiara.
I do hope Tiara is listening. Please mute your mic and keep them muted until I know it unmutes sometimes or something happens, but just as best as possible. Thank you very much. Yes, to provide you with some updates as it relates to some decisions that would have been taken by the ministry, decisions that directly affects us and directly affects you. Yes. So that's the purpose of the meeting here. You may have questions. There is a point in the meeting where we will open the floor to take questions and concerns, and hopefully all of them will be addressed. All of them can be addressed. We will do our best to do that. All right. Ms. Basco is having some trouble getting into the meeting. I don't know if she's here as yet. So I will have to call her and see what we can do. But we're gonna ask as well, because of the capacity of the Zoom account, or we may have to ask some persons to go over by YouTube. I'll let you know in about 3 minutes if we will need that. All right, but Mrs. Ford-Bryan, can we go to you until I get Ms. Basco in the room?
Certainly. Thank you so much, Mr. Logan. I must apologize, parents and other stakeholders. I'm having some difficulties with my video since morning, so you will not be able to see my face, but be rest assured that I'm still the same, Mrs. Ford-Bryan. Mr. Logan, Ms. King, and Mrs. McDermott, I think they were in the waiting room waiting to come onto the Zoom call. I'm not certain if you are maximized to the point wherein they can't come in. Are you seeing them? If not, I'm getting a message from Ms. King indicating that she will be on YouTube. So if you are seeing them in the waiting room, you can let them in, but I know that Mrs. Basco is not in as yet. So parents and guardians, other stakeholders, students, teachers, non-academic staff, I welcome you all to this meeting. As Mr. Logan would have rightly said, this meeting is for the main purpose of giving some pertinent information concerning the reopening of school. But I also want on your behalf to say thank you to Mr. Logan for conducting our devotion. And at this time, it is very befitting the scripture that he would have quoted for us to be strong and courageous. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. The Lord our God is with us wherever we go. And we know that whatever challenges we are going through, of ourselves, we can do nothing, but we trust that the Lord will give us the vision. We trust that he will give us the guidance, and I trust that he will give us the patience to wait upon him and to utilize his direction and walk in the pathway that he will have for us to walk. And so we are holding on to God's unchanging hand, knowing that he will be the one who will provide us with the level of leadership that we need as an institution to go forward in the midst of the challenges that we are likely to face. And so we commit Morant Bay High School to him. We commit our students, our parents, our guardians, all our stakeholders. And I want, as we go through this meeting, that you think of suggestions, you think of ways to strengthen and improve as we go along as an institution. Please note that we may not have the answers to all questions, but we will try our utmost to ensure that our stakeholders are as satisfied as we can make them, and that is our aim. So I will just go quickly into the summary of what this meeting is about. On February the 25th, we would have been in a meeting with Minister Favor Williams, and she would have informed us that school will now reopen for face-to-face for all students. It means, therefore, that all students 1st to 6th form are expected to come in all at once. So we will no longer be making the provision for the rotation, wherein 1 week lower school will come in and the other week upper school. All students will be here each day of the week. So that is where we are at. I am absolutely certain that there are parents and guardians who are very concerned about this. How is it going to work? Does it mean that all protocols will remain the same? Or is it that we will be relaxing some of these protocols? So before I even go any further, the statement that I would have made to say that all students are coming in and will be on the compound together, how does this make you feel? I'm going to ask you to utilize the chat. You know, I'm going to ask you to mute your mics, please. Mute your mics, please. Thank you. Thank you. So, you know, once we are conducting our meetings, I like to get a feedback to see exactly where our mental space is as individuals and as a group. So I'm going to ask you to just type in the chat quickly for me, the mere fact that you hear that all students are coming back on the premises. How are you feeling at this time? One word that describes, and just be honest. If it is that you are feeling uncertain or uncomfortable, I would love for you to type in the chat right now so that we have an idea as to the state of emotions that our parents and guardians are going through at this time. And if there are students who are here, please, you can also type. So I'll just share some with others. And of course, Mr. Logan, if you're on the YouTube, you can share what is there as well. But as I go along, I am seeing excited. I'm seeing uncomfortable, and I'm seeing it's frightening. These are some of the ready emotions that I know many persons will be experiencing. So this is not unique to any one individual. I'm also seeing uncomfortable being repeated. I'm seeing great, happy, uncertain, and uncomfortable. Good, uncertain, anxious, elated, troubled, great, happy, excited, relieved, trusting that all will go well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for expressing your feelings at this time. So it actually gives us an idea as to what our state of mind is. Mr. Logan, are we getting any other different emotions from the YouTube? Okay, I'm not hearing from Mr. Logan just now, but I will certainly continue. Well, all of these emotions, they are expected. So don't think that it's anything unusual for you to be feeling the way you are feeling. Thank you so much for letting us know that you have the faith in the school that things will go well. We are having that faith too, but we are also going to need your support, and that's why we are here. So on March the 7th, we are expecting to see all our students. We too have mixed feelings, but we are happy that the opportunity is here. Our mixed feelings as an institution is pretty much ensuring the full safety of all our students as well as staff members, and to anticipate and hope that all persons will still abide by the protocols that are outlined. Now, you must be wondering, how is it that we are going to maintain social distancing with all students here? Now, there are certain things that the Ministry of Education has said to us alongside the Ministry of Health. Now, all safety protocols are to be upheld, which means that all individuals must wear their masks while on the compound. That cannot be relaxed. Masks must be worn. We are still expected to emphasize hand washing and sanitizing. So we have increased our hand wash areas, and definitely we have increased on sanitizing. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information has also pledged that they will send to all schools an additional $500,000 so that we can purchase additional sanitizing agents. So certainly we will be improving on those areas. Temperature checks must be taken upon entrance. And if you can recall what was happening previously, we were documenting all students' temperatures. But then we only had half of the school's population coming in on a weekly basis. We definitely know that it is going to be extremely tedious for us to document all students' temperature. And so that has now been relaxed by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, as well as the Ministry of Health. So upon entry, all temperatures will be taken, but not all temperatures will be recorded. Once the temperature is within a safe zone, then students are allowed to go directly to their form rooms. However, if the temperature is at 30, and let me get it correct, if the temperature is at 37.5 or 9 degrees Celsius or 99.5 Fahrenheit, then we are seeing where the temperature is high. It means, therefore, that a mild fever might be there. And so we will have to document those temperatures, have the student wait for 5 to 10 minutes, retake the temperature. And if it remains in that zone, which is over 37.5 degrees Celsius or 99.5 over 99.5, then we can safely say that that person is exhibiting feverish elements. And so that person has to be isolated, and then we activate our COVID-19 protocols regarding parents coming in to pick up said child, and we keep that person isolated. So these are some of the protocols that are still in effect. So while we are not documenting every single temperature, we are still keeping track of those chronic temperatures that will give an alert that something is not normal. If students are ill or if staff members are not feeling well, then they must stay home. We have had instances at the school wherein students were not feeling well before they left home, and they were told to come to school nonetheless. And then they had to spend the entire time isolated. And in some cases, the parents or guardian took so long to make arrangements for pickup. In one instance, I can recall vividly, or even twice, where the children had to stay in isolation for the entire day No, parents and guardians, we're asking you, and I pleaded with you prior to now. We currently don't have a nurse at the school, and so if there are persons exhibiting flu-like symptoms, they cannot remain with the rest of the population. They must be isolated. Once they are isolated, you are going to be called. And I did say that you need to make provision to come and pick them up as quickly as is possible. We did say 15 to 20 minutes. Make the arrangement, because we don't have the holding area for many students. So this is where the partnership comes in. We are asking you to be cognizant and to be mindful of the rest of the school population. We don't want the transference of any virus, and so we are asking for you to pick up these students in a timely fashion. More so, if they are not feeling well, before they leave home, please don't send them to school. Do not send them to school. We run the risk of having other students and members of staff getting ill. Keep them at home and get them checked out. Do you understand that, parents and guardians? If you understand where I'm at, you can write in the chat and let me know that you clearly understand what we are asking of you. Good. Now, the 3 to 6 feet social and physical distancing condition has been relaxed. So I know that you remember that we are supposed to be distancing. Thank you so much, parents, for responding. You are understanding me clearly. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Understanding is one thing, but also I'm asking you to adhere to these rules and these principles so that we can have smooth sailing as we go along. The 3 to 6 feet physical distancing has been relaxed, which means that in our classrooms, we are now allowed to have more students. Pre-COVID, we had approximately 40 to 45 students in a classroom. Now that we are going back for full reopening, we don't have additional classrooms, which means that we will now revert to having 40 and 45 students in our room. How does that make you feel, parents? Write in the chat again. It simply means that we will have to heighten vigilance. Now, what I am reading from that speaks to the relaxation of the social distancing is a school bulletin that was sent out today. So that is on the Ministry of Education's website to the access of anyone who wants to go there and see exactly what is there. Thank you so much, parents, for responding. Parents are saying it's scary. Yes, it is. Very scary. Very, very scary. Good. It simply means that the protocols that I'm speaking of, wearing of masks and the sneezing and coughing etiquette, which means that you sneeze in your sleeves, you cough, you wipe your area, you take care of your immediate environment, you use the wipes, you dispose of it, and you use your sanitization, your sanitizers frequently. All these things we have to know, double up the efforts in ensuring that it is done consistently. So parents, I am asking of you the packages that I told you to fortify your child with, please do so. Ensure that you package their things, their little package with their wipes, with their sanitizers, everything you can think of, you give it to them and you encourage them to use this. We are also encouraging our students to stay in their zone, in their area. Don't be moving from one seat to another. Stay and remain in your space. Don't encourage persons to be sitting in your space. So we have to be extremely vigilant. In the classroom, if there is a student who is not feeling well and has their head on their desk, the teachers are now encouraged to be highly vigilant to actually pull those students, because we don't want anything escalating. So we are also asking other students to be vigilant too, to be their brother's keeper. Look around, see who might not be looking so well, and make an alarm of it, so that a teacher or another member of staff can know exactly what to do. So as I am speaking, you will realize that it's a partnership that is going to make this work. I know that students are social beings, human beings are social beings, and we love to hug. We have to refrain from doing this, because we don't know what is likely to happen at this time. So we have to minimize as best as is possible those contact. Okay, I'm allowing all of that to digest. All of that to digest. Okay, I am seeing a comment from a parent here that it's clear. All right, very good. This is high school students is and should be aware of protocols by now. We have been living this for the past 2 years. Thank you so much. Sanitize, clean hands, hand washing, stay home. If you are not well, parents, don't send children to school. If they are sick, come on, parents. Thank you so much, parents, for supporting and echoing that. That's what we want, but we are still seeing it happening no matter how much we speak. So we really are trying to put things in place. Parents, do what you must do so that we keep our environment virus-free as is possible. We have put certain things in place as an institution so that we can reduce the excess gathering. And some of these will include corporate devotions that we are accustomed to, or otherwise known as general devotion, that we will have Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We will no longer have the students gathering in the quadrangle area. If some persons can recall, when lower school came in, it is as if they took up the entire area by themselves, and that was just first to third form. We definitely will not have the space for approximately 1,400 students to actually stand in the quadrangle. And so what we have decided to do is that students will remain in their form rooms, but we now have an intercom system that will be utilized from the office of the principal, and we will be conducting our corporate devotions by that medium. So that's what we will be using. So the large gatherings will not be done anymore. We will reduce that significantly. Your devotions will not be held. Your coordinators decided that they will be going form by form to give their pep talk to the different form groups, and the form teachers will be there too to monitor what is happening. So in the mornings when we are having our devotion, be it corporate devotions, the form teachers are expected to be on spot. Early in the mornings, what we are accustomed to is that we have persons on duty who will be supervising the blocks. So we are trying as much as possible. Now, we have been trying, but some of our students are not being mature about it. This is where the parents come in. You have to, somewhere or another, let your child know that COVID is still keeping. And some students are of the opinion that COVID is not keeping. And so we have to put measures in place. If it is that there are students who are going to put other students and other staff members at risk, that when we speak to them about wearing their masks properly and refraining from hugging and sharing lunch and sharing containers, and if we are speaking to them twice, 3 times, I am sorry, parents, they have to come home to you. We cannot run the risk of having this virus being spread throughout the environment, throughout the school grounds, if it is that your child is not willing now to conform to basic rules. We have been living with this for 2 years now, and for 2 years, we should be forming somewhat of a habit or a culture around how we operate. And so we don't have the time, given the amount of time that we have lost, we don't have the time going around repeating protocols and repeating what is to be done. The children who attend Morant Bay High School are intelligent children. We are smart, and we know what is required. So we are asking you to continue to sensitize your child and to repeat these protocols frequently so that it sticks with them. Lunch. I know that persons might have questions about lunch break. So what we have decided is that we will be activating our 3 tuck shops, and everything will be sold from each. So it's 3 tuck shops plus the canteen that will be used. We have extended our lunch time by 10 minutes. Not much, some persons might think, but 10 minutes really make a lot. But now we are having other areas wherein persons can purchase their lunches. We will still be doing lunch orders for the first formers only, and they will come to the canteen, collect their lunches, and go back to their classrooms. The canteen will facilitate first and second form. One of the tuck shops will be facilitating third form, another fourth, and another fifth. The 6 formers will be able to float around all the areas to actually get their lunches. We will have sufficient persons at the different tuck shop areas. And remember, the tuck shop areas will be serving hot meals as well as snacks and juices. So what we are doing is to minimize the population that will be at the canteen. And so we are deploying all food kinds to the different areas, and then we will be having a specific year group going to the different areas to purchase their lunches. Now, we are emphasizing, parents, that students support the school as it relates to lunch, as it relates to snacks, because the canteen and the tuck shop is what is really carrying us as an institution. We might hear via media that the ministry is sending X amount of money and doing this and doing that. But also remember that many parents don't make the contribution for tuitions. And so we have to depend on the little income that is coming in from the canteen and the tuck shops. We are also utilizing those funds to pay for part-time teachers that we have to teach the students. So we are also asking you, buy MBHS so that we can grow MBHS. It's the same thing we say for Jamaica. Buy Jamaica so that we can grow Jamaica. I am seeing where a parent is asking about part students. What about part students? There is no distinction. Part students can go to any area and get their path lunches. So we don't have a ticket that says only path students go here or there. So wherever your year group is placed for you to purchase your lunch or to collect your lunch, then you present your swipe card for your path and you will get your lunch anywhere. So we have catered for that. So you don't have to only go by the canteen. We are deploying lunches to all other areas of the tuck shops. So if you understand how the lunch break will now be attended to, you can place in the chat that you understand, so that we know that we are on the same page. So that is what will happen where break is concerned. If not the swipe cards, well, what we are doing now as it relates to the swipe cards, we are now in dialogue with the company to actually activate those. So we had some, however, those were the incorrect ones. So we are working on the swipe cards so that we can get them out. But whatever path card that your student, your child has, present it anywhere and they will get their path lunches. Good. Mr. Logan will speak a little bit more as it relates to path if persons will have questions. Thank you so much. I appreciate that what I'm saying is clear and you are understanding. Good. Some persons might be also concerned about the fact that we still don't have a nurse, but I am telling you that we have been functioning relatively well without having a nurse at hand, but we know definitely that a nurse will assist us. What the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health has now done is to reduce the qualification specification for a school nurse. So whereas it had to be a registered nurse coming in to work in the schools, they are now relaxing some of the qualifications. So we are in the process now of sending out new ads. So we hope that in this process, we will get some assistance as it relates to the nurse. So our health and wellness area is still in full operation, but we will be using that area as the isolation unit now because we had to reconvert one other area into the tuck shop. But we are in good stead. Room plans and timetables. Timetables remain the same. So the students will be operating on the very same timetable that they had. There are some adjustments to the 5th and 4th form timetable as it relates to the periods that they had or the sessions that they had for personal development and clubs. So those adjustments are being made. So class time will be put in those areas. Clubs and societies, those we will find designated times after school throughout the week to have those done. And of course, it cannot be in an enclosed environment that cannot accommodate large numbers. So we are going to try to utilize the outside space for our clubs as best as is possible. So there will be minimal adjustment to the timetable for 4th and 5th form. As it relates to the room plan, the room plans will be ready before the week ends. We will send those out to your coordinators who will send them out in the different WhatsApp group. So look out for the room plans. Remember, it is very important that we go in the correct rooms to avoid congestions. So you'll have to read the room plans properly and know where you need to go as soon as you come in, where your form classes are, where your subject classes are. So 1st to 3rd form will remain in their form rooms. Your teachers will come to you. But we know that 4th, 5th, and 6th formers, will be moving around. Their teachers will be moving around as well. We try to minimize those movements as best as possible, but at this point, we cannot redo an extensive timetable. So persons who understand the complexity of timetable will know that we'll not be able to do that. Devices. While we will allow students to still take their devices to school because our teachers will still be utilizing the online platform, we are asking that persons exercise maturity. We will be sending out a document in short order. If it is that persons are going to use their devices out of order and out of turn while in the classroom or even outside of the classroom, then these devices are going to be confiscated. And in some cases, we are going to ask you to remain at home. We have had instances already wherein teachers are in the classroom teaching and students just pop open their phones and be on their phones. We are talking about Morant High School students. Parents, there are certain principles and there are really certain standards that we are not able to compromise, none at all. And we will not be compromising. We are here in a learning environment and we are going to treat it as such. Everywhere has rules. Morant High School is no different. And if we want to be the school that we desire to be, then of course these schools don't come about by merely just going about doing things. We have to abide by principles and we have to abide by a system and we must be structured. So our teachers are advised to minimize collection of books because you know very well that the virus can be transferred like that. So we still will be utilizing notes, activities, assignments on the Google platform. By the year 2024 into 2025, CXC will be going full length online for exams. Our students need the practice. So we are encouraging parents to get those devices, allow for your students, your children to start typing with speed, understand the keys. We are in that era. We are in the 21st century. We cannot go back. So at this point, we can't say that we are now going to minimize the use of devices. We have to up the use of devices so that our students are comfortable handling themselves. All right, sorry about that, parents. I had to let in Mr. Logan just to know. Okay, great. Let me continue. So we are asking that you speak to your child, speak to your ward about the use of the device. Teachers will be using the devices in their classroom. But if it is guided by the teacher, we have no problem. But it cannot be that we are going to get the disrespect with students popping out their devices and using it whenever and however. Respect is due right across the board. Good? Lovely. And I know that not all parents are able to purchase a laptop or a tablet. And so we are saying that if the phone is the device that the student is using, then use it with maturity. That is all we want. So again, we will be sending out a reminder, a document, so that we know exactly what is expected of us. And this is a reminder. It's nothing new. So parents, I'm going to say to you, if it is a case wherein your child will come home and tell you that the device is being confiscated, is being taken because he or she was using it out of turn, please don't come here with the quarrel. We are mature persons. Let us talk about it. And certainly we can talk about it. But the fact of the matter is, we cannot allow for the distractions to continue. We have lost too much time. And we need to try to catch up as best as is possible. So these are pretty much some of the line items that we would have had. I know it's a lot to digest, but we have these things in place now. So I am encouraging us to let us see how best we can make it work. So if there are additional questions that you might have pertaining to what do we have in place here, or you need clarification on certain things, then certainly you can post your questions and we will answer those. I am not sure if at this point Mrs. Basco is in, but I will definitely call on my vice principals, Mrs. McDermott. She perhaps just want to give you a few words to add to that, to what I had to say. And if Miss King is here on the Zoom, then she can also add a few words. Mrs. McDermott?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ford Bryan. Let me say welcome to all the parents who are here. I must say that this has been a long time coming. We were looking forward to the time when this would happen, because sure enough, we could not stay online all the time. I heard some of your complaints that the students were not learning, and a lot of students were not able to log on. So we are happy that we are now open face-to-face and our students can come in. But of course, we recognize that there are going to be challenges. And we need your support, parents. We cannot do it just teachers, administrators, and other workers on the compound. We need your support. So I'm going to be asking that in whatever way you can support us, you please do that. We are going to ask that you speak to your children so that they can abide by the protocol. We really do not have time to be walking around telling students, put on your mask, pull up your mask. Please, parents, reinforce that for us. And I must also speak on the matter of uniform, because a number of students have been coming to school with out of uniform, I must say. They will have on what looks like the Morant Bay High School tunic, but I've noticed that the girls are reaching for their second, third form, and they're in fifth form uniforms. So we are seeing some very short uniforms. We are seeing some tight uniforms, and I cannot understand how a flare can be tight. Flare should never ever be tight, and can never ever be tight if it is made in the proper way. So we are going to be asking you to help your students to comply with the uniform, the boys and their hair. Of course, you know that the hair is supposed to be on one level. We're seeing all sorts of fade styles here and other styles, and of course the girls in their hair extension. We will have our plates full, and we really will not have time for these things. So we are asking your assistance in this area, parents. Let them abide by the school uniform. And of course, we really expect that you will do your part. They are coming from your homes in the mornings, and we expect that you are the first person who will see them. So please, let's work together on that matter. All right, while I'm at it, I must also mention to parents who have students in 6th and 5th form, and of course, those who are doing the math in 4th form, I would just like to inform you that it is now SBA time. Yes, this is the stage at which we are at now for the examination. It is SBA, and we do not want anybody to fail because they were not compliant in doing their SBAs. Now, the date that we have for all students to submit their SBA, the deadline date that is the 31st of March. All SBAs should be in. Please ask them concerning it. Please pressure them if they are not working hard enough so that we can have them handing in their SBAs on time. The 31st of March, that is their date. Please ensure also parents that they do their best, because remember the SBA for various subjects, it will be for different percentage. If they can get up to 30% before they go into the examination, because the SBA might be marked out of 30, that would be very good. It would mean that they will go into the exam and work very hard, and that is how they will get the ones. The SBAs are integral when it comes to passing both the CAPE and the CSEC exams. And over the years, I can tell you those who do very well at their SBAs and they are consistent in their study pattern, they end up getting good results. So please impress upon them. Even if you have to bother them, some will have up to 8 SBAs doing, so they have to be able to use their time wisely. So please ensure that that is done and submitted by the 31st. All right. Let me just say again that we know there are going to be challenges, but with you working along with the school, we know that we can solve these difficulties that will arise. So thank you very much for coming, parents, and we ask for your continued support.
Thank you very much, Mrs. McDermott, for that. And I echo exactly what it is that you are saying. So, Ms. King, are you on? Not certain. Mrs. Basco, are you able to unmute? And you can address.
Ms. Basco is here, but she's not able to unmute at this time.
Wow. Is there something that you can do, Mr. Logan? Because I tried doing something from my end. So I am wondering what's happening.
I'm not sure if, oh, hold on.
Okay, while you continue doing that, I will address.
I don't know if it's sorry, I don't know if it's a case where she's unable to unmute by pressing unmute, or she's not in a position to. I don't know which of them.
No, she is unable to unmute. That's the impression I'm getting.
Oh.
Right, she's unable. So as the host, let's see what can be done from our end.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right.
Miss Basco, exit and rejoin, please, because I'm not seeing any other option. Just exit the meeting and rejoin, please.
Okay, good. So I am seeing here where there are some questions and some statements. My child told me that they use the phone at school sometime on face-to-face classes. Why? I would not know the context of that question. I would need to know the teacher. I would need to know the context, because it's not a case wherein I can make a general comment on that. So questions like these, parents, we ask that you specifically get in contact with your coordinator or with the particular subject teacher, or you get the information and you contact one of us, one of the VPs or the principal, because we are not able to answer questions like these generally. We are still encouraging our teachers to utilize the platform, so they might still put something in the classroom and ask the students who have their devices, instead of them writing on the whiteboard, they tell them to log into the classroom, because we are in fact expanding our internet accessibility. And so 3/4 of the school is now fortified with the Wi-Fi. So in instances wherein we would be printing 50 odd copies of a particular poem, then the teacher will place the poem in the classroom and ask the students to log on. That we will entertain. So in instances like those, we are utilizing the online platform in the face-to-face space. So we are still encouraging that use. All right, so I'll get back to the questions. I will allow for Ms. Basco to address us. Mrs. Basco?
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Ford Bryan. It has been quite a while. I'm trying to get in, but all protocols observed. And I would just want to, on behalf of the executive of the PTA, a heartfelt greetings to everyone on this platform. And let me just pause at this moment to thank the senior management and teachers and all other stakeholders for your steadfast commitment in making things happen. And that is the business of school. You know, they operated in a very difficult and challenging times, and you ought to be commended. The executive would also like to publicly thank Miss Stephanie Smith for representing the parents so well. I don't know, but I didn't get any other name, but I got Miss Stephanie Smith, and she assisted in taking the temperature and also recording. So come March 7th, and I know that Miss Ford Bryan.
Let me just interject a bit, Miss Basco. Sorry for butting in, but sure, we cannot go any further without mentioning Miss Shanette Bonnie.
Right. She is the person, Mrs. Ford Bryan.
Exceptional, exceptional. Yes. At the gate, at the canteen. I'm telling you, beautiful.
Yes, Miss Bonnie. She is the person, Mrs. Ford Bryan. I don't know how I could make such a mistake. Yes.
Right.
Yes. She was there all the time for us as parents. And, you know, just want to really thank you so much. And Mrs. Ford Bryan gave an extensive overview of what we should expect come March 7th, but I just want to reiterate some things that physical distancing will be removed from the classroom. And so parents, let us remind our children that COVID is still here. The cases have significantly declined because persons are complying. And so it is important that they comply with the protocols. Parents, let us also ensure that our children are prepared with the necessary resources so that they can function effectively. And we don't want any breakdown of discipline. And so parents, we are going to ask you to encourage the students to comply with all the rules, not some, but all the rules that governs the school. Mrs. Ford Bryan spoke about the phones and even the other gadgets. We want our students to use them responsibly. And let me just close by saying we want to thank you, parents, for your resilience, for your hard work, for the effort that you, some of you, you comply, you were there with the children online, ensuring that the work was done, and also sending them out during that, during the rotation. We know that some parents did not send out their children, but we are just going to ask those of us who had our children there in the physical space and online that we should, encourage those parents to send them out. And if we know of cases, let us report these to the guidance counselor. I just want to close with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which says, "Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from indomitable will." So by staying positive and refusing to give up, despite the challenges that come our way, our inner strength will endure. Back over to you, Mrs. Ford Bryan. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Basco. Thank you also for your support and the support of the executive body. And I know that you will continue to give that support as we move forward in our challenging times ahead. But even though it's challenging, I know that the reward is great, and we look forward to all the partnerships and all the support that we will be getting from the parents.
Thank you.
There is a question that speaks to will there be physical PE classes for first form? There will be physical PE classes for all forms. What we are, however, waiting on is a document from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. They did say to us that they would send out a document that will speak to the operations of physical education classes in terms of the practical classes. And so we don't want to go full length forward until we get that. But I do know that if a class is out there on the field, they will have to be physically distant somewhat, and the activities that they would need to participate in will have to definitely be within the lines of COVID protocols. So we are still awaiting that document so that we can utilize it as a guide, but as is, we are still taking our time to get ourselves in it. We are not loading the games field with persons running just haphazardly, but we will have to have our organized activities. And we are in fact in dialogue with the PE department as we move forward with that, because we have to ensure the safety of the students. Another question is, when will the IDs be ready? Well, we don't have a set date for that. So now that we are just reopening for school, then we can put in place how we will organize the taking of those pictures so that we can get the IDs ready for our new students. So we would not have had a date ready for you with that. Okay, I think I'm missing some. Where am I here now? Let me see, Mr. Logan, you can assist me with those questions, please. Oh, there was a second question about ID.
All right, there are a couple of questions on YouTube. One parent is asking about the student ID to access the reports. So they're asking if information on the report have been shared already.
or on this platform, there is, if you are in a WhatsApp group, then the information for the student ID to view the report is placed in the WhatsApp groups. But what we will do, we will try to place it here so that persons can know exactly how to access it. But if you are having difficulties, the form teachers will be able to assist you. We sent out a directory, a teacher's directory. You can send an email to your form teacher, and your form teacher is expected to respond to you. So persons were of the opinion that once they don't have a telephone number for all the teachers. So what we decided to do is to send out the directory with the teachers' MOE school's email so that you can have access to all the teachers. So I'm going to ask that you contact the form teachers. The form teachers were trained into how to access the password or username for the students, and they are in better stead to give you the individual student username number so that you can access the reports. Any other?
For persons who are not in the WhatsApp groups, I'm placing my email in the chat. Please send an email to that email address stating the year group that the child is in and asking for access. The link to the WhatsApp group will be sent to your email.
Okay, are there any other questions coming in? Okay, good. Mr. Logan, over to you. If there are no other questions, if it is that you need to highlight anything regarding path or any other areas.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, so a couple of things repart. As would have been said, read the lunches. A path card is given to each student. As of right now, there are some issues with the cards. They would have been ordered, but there were some errors, the number on the card, so they have to be sent back and that has to be redone. So what we have in place now is that we have a list of all students who are on path. So each student who would have taken in either the gray slip with the student's name and the school saying that they are part of our school and they're on path, or parents can request a letter from the Ministry of Labor and Social Securities, which is the path office, request a status letter stating that the student is on path, right? When that is taken to us, we're able to add the student's name. We're able to add the student's name to the list. The list is at the canteen. So when the student goes for lunch, the persons in the canteen, because the students don't have the path card, majority of them, persons in the canteen are able to identify the student's name on the list that the student signs beside the name, basically. But as soon as the cards are available and as soon as the cards are ready, each student will be issued with their card so that they're able to access lunch. If the student comes home and tell you that they didn't get any lunch or they have not been getting any lunch, then they need to come and check by the guidance department, because either they're not collecting the lunch or their name is not on the list, which that's an easy fix for it to be added. If you had taken in the gray slip, that receipt there, or the status letter from Ministry of Labor, then more than likely we have it, right? Another thing that the student can do is to have a copy of that gray slip. So if they go to the canteen and the name is not on the list and they present that, more than likely they still would have to come to us, but they would have that to show that they're on path. But as soon as the cards are available, they will be provided to the students. Secondly, coming from path, persons who second and third formers who are on path and don't have a device, I have sent out the message a number of times if you are in or your child is in second form or third form and they do not have a device and they're on path, please, messages in the group with some instructions. You send an email with the proof of path, proof of the student being on path, saying that you don't have a device, and then you will be contacted via email. The email is used, parents, I use my email and not necessarily via the phone for these kind of things because it's a whole heap of responses, and it's easier to manage that via email. So if your child is in third form or second form and they do not have a device, last year devices were provided for students who were in fourth form, fifth form, sixth form. Obviously not all students would have received, but majority. So we the school and the ministry, we're trying to make provisions for those students who are without devices, because as Madam Principal said, an effort is being made to keep the integration of the technology and the use of the devices in the delivery of education now. Thirdly, coming from the guidance department, if you are aware of a student, if you're aware of a child, whether this school or any other school, who especially come next week, who is not attending school specifically, I'm saying for our school, if you're aware of a Morant Bay High School student who for whatever reason is not attending school, right? Whatever the reason is, please reach out and let us know. There will be a major thrust coming from the ministry and coming from the school to ensure that all students come back out, all students, some formal arrangements to continue the child's education has to be made. So if they're not coming out to school next week, then you will have to provide information to the ministry to say what formal education this child is receiving, right? Because a right to an education is one of those fundamental rights that our children have. And if you withhold that right or you breach that right that the child has, then more than likely you'll be answering to the enforcers of our legislation, the enforcers of the laws of Jamaica, the police officers, right? Because that would be a breach of the Child Care and Protection Act. So please, parents, students, if you have a friend, if you have a brethren who tell us that they're not coming back, and they're not, is not a key, even if you don't know where they're going, let us know so that we can find out and we can we can do the intervention that needs to be done. All right, as Ms. McDermott said in the chat just now, there's a video that was uploaded to our YouTube channel, the tutorial on how to access the report, right? The reports are online. A video was done as to how to access the report. If you need assistance with the ID and password and stuff like that, contact the form teacher. All right, that Ms. King, I'm not sure if Ms. King is in as yet, but Ms. King sends her regards to the parents and everybody who is on, and she apologizes for her absence. All right, dear, I think the questions in the chat would have been addressed. Let me make one last check at YouTube. All right, if you have sent an email, read the device, and you didn't get a response, just resend that email, please. If you sent an email and you didn't get a response, just resend the email, please. If the path slip is old, then you'll need a letter. You'll need a letter from the Ministry of Labor and Social Securities, because as we know, persons are added and taken off the path list occasionally. So you can't take a 2019 thing to us to say that the student is on path, right? So you need a more recent, something more recent from the ministry. Again, the reports are online. Contact the form teacher for assistance. They are online and they have been online for a while now. So if you have not seen a report for your child in for a couple of terms, then they are online and they can be viewed. From YouTube, there's a question re PE gears. I think I'd want to ask that person to contact the general office. This is Fort Brian. Can you provide any information on PE gears? My son is in Jackson House. He has not received his PE gears due to the sizes which are available. That's a comment from a parent on YouTube.
Okay, we might want to speak off the air with that parent, because the sizes would not have changed right now because we don't have new PE gear in stock. So it might very well remain the same. So I am going to ask that the parent tries to contact either Ms. King, Mrs. McDermott, or myself afterwards, and we will take those documentations. Or you can send in the information, the child, the form, and send it privately in the chat so that we can document that information. You don't have to send it to everyone, send it privately. You can send it to Morant Bay Secondary High School that you see there, or you can send it to Mrs. McDermott, or even Guidance Council, MBHS Guidance Department, and we will take that information.
There's a question on YouTube. I'm not sure. Please restate. What about the message that they sent us? I'm not sure. All right. There's a question about exam scripts. Will the exam scripts be made available? That, I think that's what the person is asking. It has been retracted. All right. A question in the chat on Zoom asking about contact numbers for teachers. Not all teachers are, can I say, comfortable giving out the personal number. Not all persons have a work phone. So a database of email addresses have been provided for the teachers in the various departments. Reach out to the teacher there. If through that medium, the teacher provides a telephone number, then I think that works. But reach out to the teacher for the first instance via the email that has been provided. If you reach out to a teacher and you don't get a response, then you can possibly escalate the query. We're asking, the request is for you to reach out to the subject teachers via email at first. If the teacher through that medium gives you a contact number, contacts you directly, then that works. But not all persons want their single telephone number to be out there. For the form teacher, you possibly need to contact your year teacher and try to get some assistance there, because it still wouldn't be able to just give out the number over this medium. So try to make contact through the year teacher first. I hope that helps. Question: read the literature books, miss. Are the literature books available? I would have paid for the rental of some first year literature books. Are those available? No, that's a question from the chat. Not sure if Miss is still here or if she's hearing us.
Repeat that for me, please.
I would have paid for the rental of some first year literature books. Are those available now?
Okay, I cannot speak to that right now, but definitely we will contact Miss McNabb, who is the head of the English department, and she should be able to provide some information on that. So seeing that we are opening for full face-to-face on Monday, information will be going out to parents as it relates to those payments for those literature books, and the departments responsible for said distributions, they will make contact with the specific students.
All right, that seems like it. We have exhausted our agenda. Thank you very much, Madam Principal. Thank you very much, Mrs. Basco. Mrs. McDermott is present. Parents, teachers, all stakeholders, students, thank you very much. We look forward to the resumption on Monday. We take it one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, until we are able to get back up and running. Please remember, we don't know exactly what next week will be like, right? So as a school, just as we're asking you to take it one step at a time, we will be doing so as well. As best as possible, we will address the concerns as they rise and as they come, right? But the mission remains the same. The mission has not changed from the inception of the school. The mission has been to provide meaningful, fulfilling, wholesome education to the students that are enrolled here. And pandemic or no pandemic, COVID or no COVID, that has remained the mission. A lot of our students, especially some of our boys, would not have coped very well with online learning. So parents will ask you to encourage them to make use of this resumption, this face-to-face resumption, right? Your influence over them, for the most part, is greater than ours. So we need for you to drive some of these things home. Speak to your children every single evening. There should be at least 20 minutes of conversation. Ask them about the day, ask them what's going on, how are they doing. A lot of our students have given up and been on the verge of giving up because of what has transpired over the last 2 years. So find out, and if you need assistance, reach out. If you have reached out to us already and you didn't get a response, please don't feel disheartened. Reach out again, right? Or if you brought a query to us and you don't feel like the resolution was what you wanted it to be, then reach out once more. We can't give up on your children or students. So with this in mind, I'll make one more check. One more check out. There are some questions that are now coming in from YouTube. Reform teachers, somebody's asked, form teacher for grade 7, you'd have to let us know which grade 7 that is, miss, and or find out from your child as was suggested. Can the exam scripts be made available to the students? Not sure which grade you're referring to. Some of the exams were done online. Not sure if that's what you're referring to. And again, we had mentioned about the viewing of the reports. So there, if you are joined late, there's some information there that would have been made available previously. You can go ahead and rewatch the part of the meeting that you would have missed. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
One more thing, Mr. Logan, that we need to add is that if parents wish to query an exam or just want clarification, certainly students and parents are at liberty to do so. So we are not withholding, or we have no mandate that says that persons can't query their exam scripts. So certainly you're open to that. Just ensure that you go through the proper channel to do so. The upper school vice principal is Mrs. McDermott, and you will know your coordinators. And we have the different heads of departments. You can contact the heads of departments regarding the different subject areas. For lower school, it's Miss Alicia King of VP. And of course, again, you will know the different year coordinators who are there. And we sent out the directory. We have the heads of the various departments. So if it is English, for example, and you want to query an English script, then of course you can make contact with Mrs. McNabb. So you need now to know who the different heads of the different departments are. And you can check with that documentation that has been sent out, and you will get that information as well.
There is a final question asking about the subsidy, Miss Mac. Some students were given subsidy for electrical installation after the CXC was paid. How will they receive the subsidy or the refund? I'm assuming that's what is being asked.
We have not heard from the JPS code just yet, but as soon as we do, then we'll arrange for the parents to be reimbursed.
All right. So once again, thank you very much, everyone who joined, everyone who participated. I hope that we're feeling a little bit better about the upcoming resumption. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Stay blessed. Take care. Tamara Gordon, yes, school will reopen fully on Monday.